Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Max, and me Gamer here, and today I am going to be doing my official round of 32 review. I did it all combined because why not? Sorry if I don't sound the best. Haven't been feeling too great. So yeah. It was a pretty good round of 32. Some good matchups, some interesting matchups. And yeah, so let's get into this review. Now, since I'm not doing this in order and I'm doing it in the order I found these photos, first up we have Scorpios vs Huge. Now this fight, at first it looked like, oh no, Scorpios will win. Because Scorpios were completely controlling Huge, chopped off both their side things. Until Huge did what Huge seems to be doing this year and got around to the side, ripped up Scorpios. The Scorpios ended up on fire with both wheels missing, basically. And that was from like 2 shots from Huge, and Scorpios was just dead. So yeah. Then we have the rematch of Endgame vs Tantrum, the 3rd edition. So this fight went basically the same way all the other ones did. Tantrum did okay to start off with, and then Endgame just purely dominated. So yeah, Endgame looked really good for like the last bit of this fight. Tantrum was looking decent, but they didn't cause too much damage. And yeah, it ended up going to a decision, which was kind of surprising since, Tantrum hasn't been doing too great this year. However, then went the distance and the judges unanimously voted for Endgame. However, it was a good fight and it had 2 champions in it, so yeah. And Endgame moves on to the round of 32 to fight the winner of the next fight I have in here, which is Copperhead vs Rotator. So I think everyone knew this was going the distance because it's 2 good, durable robots with good weapons. To start off with, it seemed like Copperhead was getting caught on Rotator's forks. However, Copperhead was still causing damage. Rotator landed a few good shots to the wheels of Copperhead and became the first one to really damage them. Then Copperhead landed a bunch of good shots. Ripped up one of the armor plates, as you can see from this image. But a decent fight. But not the greatest, not the worst though. So yeah, it's a bit like one of those fights where that was cool, but not the complete best, but not the worst either. So just a decent fight. And the 2 big British vertical spinners fought each other in Cobalt vs Monsoon. I think everyone thought, well, Cobalt's definitely going to win this one. But no, Monsoon was actually driving really well in this match. Their weapon was hitting hard as they ripped off Cobalt's forks. However, Cobalt did land a few good shots, which Monsoon did recover from. However, that wasn't enough to stop Monsoon, and they eventually tipped Cobalt onto their back, where Cobalt couldn't self-ride because Cobalt just needs a self-rider, and once they get that, there'll be nothing that could stop them from winning a giant nut. So hopefully they have that all done by next season. And then we have what was actually the last fight for the round of 32, but I'm having it here because why not, was Blip vs Soulblaze. Now going into this one I was a bit unsure on what would happen. However, Soulblaze proved they're still really good. And they were probably a bit mad after that Hydra fight, so they decided to go in and just completely control Blip, knock them around the arena, and yeah, Blip did not look the same by the end of it. However, Blip did stay in for the full 3 minutes until it went unanimously to Soulblaze, which, after what had happened was basically what you would have expected. I do recommend checking this one out. They'll probably have, they might have done the weekly fight. Oh yeah, they have. It's later on. Then we have Witch Doctor, who got the 3 seed for the second time, versus Jackpot. And going into this one, I think everyone was like, well, this could either be a really big upset or Witch Doctor will prove how good they are. It ended up being the latter, because Witch Doctor just basically one-shot Jackpot's weapon. It was down the entire fight. Then they just ripped Jackpot up, and it was just crazy. Jackpot was like getting properly destroyed. But they kept moving for like another minute, and again, some of the shots they had, that was pretty impressive. However, Witch Doctor does move on. And here we have an image of what happened to Jackpot after that fight. Up we have one of the more controversial fights, and that was Riptide vs Shatter for a second time. And the reason it's controversial was because Riptide kind of cheated. They may or may not have modified their robot after doing the pit inspections or the weight, so they cheated by working on it afterwards. So they then went into the thing 2 pounds lighter than they originally were, and basically just ripped up Shadow. But I do feel like this is going a bit too far with what Riptide's doing. Like, they're cheating now after already doing some stuff that, like, they shouldn't probably be able to do. But Shadow hanged in there for quite a while, especially given their damage. And then we have another rematch of Bloodsport vs Lockjaw. And to start off the fight, Bloodsport kept hitting Lockjaw's wedge, bouncing off it until they hit Lockjaw's wheels, and I thought, oh no, this is gonna be over. And it basically was. Lockjaw was with like 1.5 wheels. But then, somehow, Bloodsport hit Lockjaw's wheel in the exact way that it fed them into their weapon, stopped Bloodsport's weapon, and then Bloodsport couldn't self-ride, and then Lockjaw won because Bloodsport couldn't self-ride, and Lockjaw was still wobbling around. Then we have Mad Cat vs Claw Viper, which was definitely an amazing fight. So this one was very fast. To start off with, Claw Viper and Mad Cat just constantly ran into each other, and Claw Viper got a few good suplexes in. Well, not really. They just slammed Mad Cat around, and Mad Cat landed a few good shots until Claw Viper decided to, and they were winning at that point, or at least in my opinion they were, until they dropped their claw thing into Mad Catter's weapon, and then Mad Catter ripped it off and then started dominating the fight. But for like the last 45 seconds of the match, Mad Catter was really quite dominant. However, it went to the judges, split decision win to Mad Catter. However, I do think that Claw Viper would have just barely won. Yeah, also they stopped Mad Catter's weapon, which, it's got to count for something, But anyway, that means that Mad Catter is now moving on to face up against Huge, which shall be interesting. Then we have Lucky vs Hypershock, which, Lucky's been doing pretty good this year, and Hypershock's just been meh. However, they have been kind of good. So in this fight, Lucky ran some weird forks and stuff, and Hypershock ran their fork configuration. And to start off with, Hypershock was just hitting Lucky a bit. Lucky landed one flip, but Hypershock immediately self-righted, which was kind of cool because they ran it into the wall. And then they just dominated the fight from there. Like, Hypershock ripped up Lucky's weapon. Lucky didn't get KO'd. Hypershock lost one weapon belt. Drive belt. However, that wasn't enough to change the judge's decision. So yeah, Hypershock won by unanimous decision, which then eliminated Lucky from the tournament. However, Lucky did do pretty well, especially given the fact that they went 3-1, which is, always good to have. But yeah. Then we have one of the more fun fights, and that was Ripperoni vs Black Dragon. And to start off with, Ripperoni was absolutely dominating. Like, they were doing really well compared to how I thought it would go. And they were like knocking Black Dragon around. They stopped their weapon, and Black Dragon had this weird duck painting thing on the front, which was kind of funny. And then Black Dragon lit on fire, and as it tends to do when it's on fire, it then started dominating for no apparent reason, and then somehow Ripperoni lost the flywheel motor, and then got sent onto the upper deck, and then stopped moving, and Black Dragon won by KO, with their robots still engulfed in flames, just driving around perfectly, as if nothing had ever happened, and Black Dragon moves on. And then we have Whiplash versus Beta. And, Beta ran their ugly armor. And, even how it basically went every other time. Beta got dominated by Whiplash. All Whiplash had to do was flip them over and then put them on the upper deck. Beta then self-righted. And then Whiplash ran them into the upper deck. Beta stopped, and Whiplash won by KO. And yeah, everyone was like, well, that was weird. Yeah. Then we have Malice vs Switchback, which was surprisingly pretty good. It showed just how reliable these two robots can be when they're working. Malice was really pretty dominant in this one. They managed to stop Switchback's weapon. They ripped off chunks of Switchback. Switchback kept going and kind of controlled it a little bit, but Malice was just overpowering them. Sent Switchback into one of the corners, and then Malice took a shot from the screws. However, that didn't really do anything because the screws are kind of weak. It went to the judges, and they unanimously voted for Malice. Yeah, so that was a pretty good fight, though nothing like really extraordinary. Like two evenly matched robots fighting against each other. Then we have an interesting fight with Hydra and Deathroll. Of course, since Deathroll has no ground game at all, Hydra was able to get underneath them and flip them around. I believe that Deathroll even hit the ceiling, which is kind of cool. However, and Hydra was completely dominating until Deathroll landed one shot to the side of Hydra, which is known for being quite squishy and easy to damage for other robots. And Deathroll got its weapon embedded in there, which of course damaged Hydra's drivetrain, and they needed to do an unstick because that's how far Deathroll's weapon was stuck in there. And after the unstick, basically nothing happened. Hydra landed a few shots, and that's basically all. And it went to the decision, which was unanimous for Hydra. Then we have Ribot vs Quantum, which, this one was basically just Ribot getting stuck in the screws, Quantum biting Ribot once, and then Ribot got free and landed a big shot to Quantum's wedge, which tore a hole through it, and I believe they also landed a shot to Quantum's underbelly. Then flipped Quantum over onto their head. Quantum couldn't self-right because why would they be able to? I don't know. And and Ribbot moved on and as a 28 seed. So here we have what I thought would happen for the round of 32. Yeah, this is like, I got most of them right, not all of them though. Particularly on the right side, I got most of them right. However, on the left, I got basically none. Also, I forgot Minotaur vs. Fusion. However, nothing happened really. Minotaur just took a few shots and killed Fusion. So here we have what I think will happen in the future. Yeah, I have the polls running on my community page. If you want, go check them out. So yeah, that's basically all I've got to say about the round of 32. Quite a few upsets where the lower seed won, but nothing too crazy. But yeah. So that's gonna be it, and here we have a clip from this week.
And you know what? This is what a normal size wheel likes. Maybe somebody's compensating. That's all I gotta say here, folks.